Alright, now we're going to explain what you can do in a turn. Everything has been set up. We're going to start with our first turn. If we take a look at the back of the guidebook, we see at once everything you can do in a turn. You start with flipping a card. Next, you may start to bid on it. Then you may produce with your cards, and whatever you produce you can sell on the market, or you can buy goods on the market. You may buy an action card, and at the end of your turn, you roll the dice. To determine who gets to start, we start with bidding. In the beginning, prices are very cheap. Everything starts at the price of 1. So whoever starts has an advantage. So now we're going to bid on who gets to start. So this player, the orange player, bids 1 to start. The blue player bids 2 to start. The orange player bids 3 to start. And the blue player doesn't bid anymore. Nobody else wants to begin. So now I'm paying 3 to start. I'm paying this with credit, and I'm placing it on the board where my credit rating has placed. The orange player gets to start now. And a turn always starts with flipping a Kleinens card. There's 3 cards to choose here from. As a player, you get to decide yourselves on which one you want to bid. The orange player chooses the house to start. The house costs 4 production goods to build, so it costs us 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. So the starting price is 4. Imagine that we're a bit later, then it would be 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 would be 8. But now we start bidding at 4. We take the goods out of the market, we place them inside the natural supply, and I bid 4 for the house. Anybody bids more than 4? The other blue player bids 10. I'm not bidding higher than 10. 10 going once, 10 going twice, and sold to the blue player. The blue player has the highest bid, and he gets the cards in front of his vault. And the blue player, now he gets 10 credits out of his stash, and he places it on the outer ring, where his credit rating is placed. The blue player could have paid with money as well, but in this case he finds it more convenient to play with credit. Now the orange player hasn't won the bidding, so now he can resume bidding. You can keep on bidding until you win a bid. Here we see the weaver. The weaver is going to be bid next by the orange player. The weaver costs 4 consumption goods. Green consumption goods are 1 apiece, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is the starting bid of this weaver. So I'll bid 4 for this weaver.
Ik bied 9.
The bid is of 9 for the weaver. The orange player bids 10 for the weaver, and now I have bought it for the highest bid of 10. So this weaver is mine. Now I'm going to buy it with 10 credits. I'm going to place it out on the board where my credit rating has been placed. I could have paid with cash as well, but in this case I like to pay with credit. Alright, now we have flipped a card, we have bid on the card until we won a bid. Now we are going to buy, produce and sell. With every market you can buy a max of 4 goods. For the orange player wants to buy 2 production goods. So they're now 2 each. So the orange player is going to buy them with 4 credits by placing it on the board where the orange player credit rating is. I'm going to place the goods in the vault. Next, we're going to produce. Every card that you have, they're going to produce the amount of goods that are stated below. The goods are from the natural supply and are placed on the card. Imagine, for a second, that I would have another card of the same guild. Then both of the cards would have produced one extra consumption good, or one of whatever it is that they are making. But for now, we're only going to produce one. This card makes one consumption good. For now, I can choose to sell it directly at the price of 1, or I can keep it for later. In this case, I choose to sell it for 1 gold. So this makes me earn my first gold. And this money is placed in the vault. At the end of the turn, you may buy an action card. This action card always costs 10. So you can pay either with 10 gold or 10 credits. We choose to pay with 10 credits. I'm not showing the action card to anyone except to you. So here it says, all of your finance cards produce 1 extra good this turn. We save this action card for the next turn to get an advantage. At the bottom of the action card it says when you can play it. This card can only be played in the old turn. Some action cards can be played anytime. The credit that we have created is can be given to other people. It means that the people that we gave the credit to can use this credit to pay other people. For example, they can use it to buy consumption goods, to buy, for example, bread and beer. They can also use the credit to buy production goods. For example, bricks and stone and wood and tools. But they can also choose to take the credits that they have out of the bank, so they can cash it in from the bank. When enough people have lost their faith in the bank, when enough people have taken their cash out of the bank, then there is a bank run. How do we determine what happens with the credits? We do it with this dice. We roll this dice at the end of the turn. When it hits green, it takes consumption goods out of the market. When it hits red, it takes production goods out of the market. When it hits blue, then the bank run marker moves further in the direction of the bank run. There's 3 dices. 1 dice starts on the third bank run marker. When the third bank run marker hits that, then it gets into play. We start with 2 dice. So here we roll a 10 and a mil. This means that we look at how many players have at least 10 credits on everywhere where there is a mil. In the beginning, every player has all of the signs, but the further that you promote in credit rating, the more different areas there are. So the more you can distribute your credit. At this moment there's 2 players who have 10 or more credit outstanding. So it means that 2 consumption goods going out of the market. But imagine, if it was a 20 red, we would see that there's a single player who has more than 20 credit outstanding. This player does not have any credit outstanding, so it means that 1 red goes out of the market. Imagine for a second that it would be a 10 with blue. Then we see that there's 2 players who have more than 10 credit outstanding. Then the bank run marker moves 2 places. When the bank run marker goes to the B1 or B2 or B whatever, it's directly a bank run. Imagine for a second that we have promoted in our credit rating and we're going to credit rating number 2. And imagine that all of our credits would then would be distributed to the next place. Now you see that the mil is on the left housing block but not on the right housing block. Only the left housing block counts for the dice and the right housing block does not count for the dice. Now it is a turn for the blue player. The blue player starts with flipping a new card. As you see, normally you can choose to bid, to buy, produce and sell, but instead of doing that, we may also choose to repay our debt, to repay our credit. How does repaying credit work? The blue player has 10 credit outstanding. When you choose to repay your credit, you point at a single housing block and you must repay this housing block in total. The blue player points at this housing block. There's 10 credit lying there. He pays off 10 credit. The credit goes to his own pile, and the money goes to the central pile, and the blue player can promote to the next credit rating. Next time that the blue player spends credit, he may spread it over 2 housing blocks. Right, now we've seen how you play a whole turn, how you set up the board, how you play the first turn. This we have seen. You start with flipping a card, then you can bid on a card, then you can produce with your card and you can sell and buy. You may also choose to do, instead of this, to repay your credit. Finally, you may buy an action card, and you always have to roll the dice in the end. Right now, you can start a whole game until the first bank run. When the bank run hits, you flip this page, and here it sees how the game continues. The next movie is about how you resolve the bank run.